Hey everybody, get ready, because today we're diving headfirst into the world of hydroelectric power.
Ooh.
We're talking about prepping for a hydroelectric plant operator interview. I mean, how cool is that?
It's a pretty sweet gig.
Just picture this. You're in the middle of a massive power plant, surrounded by these huge machines, uh, harnessing the energy of water.
Yeah,
Power our homes and cities.
absolutely.
It's like the perfect blend of technical know-how and being good to the environment.
Yeah.
So today, we're not just prepping for any interview, we're going to dive deep into a whole career guide, give you some insider tips,
Definitely.
and even show you how RoleCatcher's AI can give you that extra edge.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
Okay, before we jump into the interview hot seat, let's break down what this job is all about.
For sure, for sure.
What does a hydroelectric plant operator really do?
So it's not just, flipping switches. It's way more dynamic than that.
Right.
You're basically like the conductor of this energy orchestra. You're overseeing the entire power generation process from A to Z. We're talking turbines, generators, valves. You're the one making sure these complex systems all work together seamlessly.
It sounds like a huge responsibility.
It is, but it's also incredibly rewarding.
So what are some must-have skills and qualities to really rock this role?
You got to bring both the technical skills and that practical mindset,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Understanding electrical systems, mechanical aptitude, and really knowing your stuff when it comes to hydropower generation. Those are essential.
Makes sense.
But it's not just about the machines.
Okay, so like what else?
Safety protocols, environmental regulations, sometimes even teamwork. Those are all part of the package.
Sounds challenging, but incredibly rewarding. I have a feeling the interview process is going to be intense.
You're telling me.
Right.
But that's what we're here for. We've got 9 common interview questions lined up to help you totally ace it.
Awesome. Let's get right to it.
All right, let's do this.
Okay, imagine this. You're sitting across from the hiring manager, and they ask, what inspired you to pursue a career as a hydroelectric plant operator? What's going through your head?
This is your moment. This is where your passion takes center stage.
Right.
Hiring managers, I want to see that spark.
Yeah.
That you're genuinely excited about this field.
So like what would get them excited?
Were you always fascinated by renewable energy? Did you take a life-changing trip to a dam as a kid?
Yeah.
Or maybe you just love the challenge of working with these intricate systems.
Mhm.
Whatever your why is, make sure you own it.
Totally. Yeah, like don't be afraid to let that passion shine through.
Exactly. Be authentic, be enthusiastic. That's what they want to see.
Okay, I love that. Let's say they follow up with, what technical skills do you possess that make you a good fit for this role?
Okay, time to bring out the big guns.
Time to show off those technical skills.
This is where you hit them with your experience in electrical and mechanical systems. Troubleshooting skills, how much you know about hydropower principles.
Mhm.
Don't just tell them you have these skills, show them. Give specific examples.
Show, don't tell.
Exactly.
Now, we all know how important safety is in this kind of environment.
Mhm.
How should someone address that in an interview?
They're definitely going to ask you about it. And it's not just about your own safety, right?
Right.
It's about the environment, the community around the plant. So when they ask, how do you ensure the safety of yourself and your team while working at the plant? Be prepared to really showcase your knowledge of safety rules and procedures.
Okay, so it's about being proactive, demonstrating that safety is always top of mind for you.
Exactly. Talk about your experience with risk assessments, hazard identification, emergency procedures. Maybe you took charge of a safety training program, or you implemented a new safety measure at a previous job. Those are the kind of concrete examples that will really make your commitment clear.
Right. So you've aced the safety question. Now what?
Be ready for anything. They could throw a curveball like, can you describe a time you had to troubleshoot a problem at a plant? Or even if you haven't worked in a plant before, they might ask, describe a time you had to think on your feet to solve a challenging problem.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It can be, but it's also your chance to really stand out. Interviewers, they love a good story.
Oh yeah, they eat that up.
So think of a real-life example where you faced a technical glitch or a process broke down. Any situation where you had to think critically and find a solution.
Right.
Walk them through your thought process, the steps you took, the outcome.
So it's about showcasing your problem-solving skills, your ability to think on your feet, and how you stay cool under pressure.
Exactly. Those are the hallmarks of a great hydroelectric plant operator.
This is reminding me it can be a lot to remember when you're prepping for an interview. Isn't that where RoleCatcher can help?
Exactly. RoleCatcher's AI is like having your own interview coach right in your pocket.
Right in your pocket, yeah.
It takes those job descriptions, breaks them down, and helps tailor your answers to exactly what they're looking for.
That sounds incredibly helpful, especially for someone who's feeling a bit overwhelmed by it all.
It's a lifesaver. And the best part, RoleCatcher can help you way before the interview even starts.
Really? How?
Think about it. You spend hours perfecting your resume, but are you even using the right keywords?
Oh, good point.
The ones that are going to make you stand out to recruiters and those applicant tracking systems.
Yeah. Feels like a guessing game sometimes.
It doesn't have to be. RoleCatcher takes all the guesswork out of it.
That is amazing. So, RoleCatcher not only helps you craft amazing answers for tough questions, it helps you get noticed in the first place.
That's the power of AI.
Okay, so we've covered technical skills, we've talked about safety, problem solving, even how RoleCatcher can give you that extra edge. But what other qualities are these interviewers looking for in a potential hydroelectric plant operator?
Remember we talked about how this job needs a good balance? Technical and practical. Well, same goes for personality. They're looking for someone who's responsible, detail-oriented, someone who can work independently but also knows how to be a team player.
It sounds like this job really requires a special mix. Technical expertise, problem-solving skills, and those strong people skills.
You got it. And the next few questions we'll cover really dig into those areas.
All right, back to those interview questions. What kind of scenarios should someone be ready to talk about?
Well, in a hydroelectric plant, everything revolves around precision and efficiency, right?
Yeah.
So they might ask you to describe a time when you had to make a difficult decision related to hydroelectric power generation.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They want to see how you handle pressure, how you make tough calls.
I imagine you have to juggle a lot of factors there. Safety, production goals, even environmental concerns, right?
You nailed it. It's all about finding that balance.
Right.
They want to see that you can analyze a situation, really think through those consequences, and come to a decision that makes sense.
This is feeling very real now. What if someone is just starting out in this field, like early in their career? How can they best prepare for a question like that?
It all comes down to research and reflecting on your own experiences.
Makes sense.
Familiarize yourself with the challenges hydroelectric plant operators face on a regular basis. Read industry articles, look up case studies, even check out news stories about hydroelectric plants.
Yeah, just immerse yourself in that world.
Exactly. And then think about how you would approach those different situations based on what you know about safety, operating procedures, environmental rules.
So even if you haven't personally faced those exact situations, you can still demonstrate your knowledge and that you can think critically.
Exactly. It shows that you're proactive, resourceful, and ready to make well-informed decisions.
This is fantastic. We've covered so much already, and I'm already feeling more confident about tackling a hydroelectric plant operator interview.
Me too. And you know what? We're just getting started. There's so much more to explore, like how to talk about your career goals, how to handle those tricky behavioral questions they love to throw at you.
Okay then, let's keep this energy up. Okay, we're back and ready to dig even deeper into the world of hydroelectric plant operators.
Yeah.
We've tackled some pretty tough questions already, but this next one gets right to the heart of leadership.
Oh, yeah, this is a big one.
So, picture this. The interviewer leans in and asks, can you describe a time when you had to lead a team through a challenging project or situation?
Leadership. It's essential in any field, but especially in a hydroelectric plant where teamwork can make or break the whole operation.
For sure. You got to be able to work together, especially when things get tough.
Absolutely. Now, even if you haven't had a formal leadership title, think about a time you stepped up, took initiative,
Yeah, like maybe you were the one who got everyone on the same page and moving in the right direction.
Exactly. Maybe you helped a study group ace a really tough exam or motivated a team to finish a project ahead of schedule.
It's about those everyday moments when you took charge, right? Those count as leadership.
Absolutely. Pick an experience that shows you can communicate clearly, delegate tasks effectively, and inspire others to do their best work.
Love it. So it's not just about being a boss. It's about showing those leadership qualities in action. Now, I imagine a typical day for a hydroelectric plant operator involves a lot of juggling. There's equipment to monitor, schedules to keep, probably a million things happening at once.
Oh, yeah. It's a fast-paced environment for sure.
So how would you suggest someone answer the question? How do you prioritize tasks and manage your time effectively?
This is where you get to show off those organizational skills. Interviewers want to know you can handle the pressure and keep everything running smoothly.
Because, let's be real, nobody wants a plant operator who's frazzled and disorganized.
Exactly. So, do you live by your to-do list?
Oh, I have lists for my list.
Or maybe color-coded calendar alerts are your thing. Or perhaps you're all about that time blocking technique.
Time blocking is a game changer. I could use some of that in my life. It really is. But whatever method you use, be specific. Describe how you figure out what needs to happen first.
Like what's urgent versus what's just important.
Right. How you break down those big projects into smaller, manageable steps. And don't forget to mention how you adapt when those unexpected challenges pop up or priorities shift.
Because we all know that happens all the time in the real world.
All the time.
So it's about showing them you've got a system and it works.
Exactly. And if you're good with any digital tools or project management software, don't be afraid to mention those too. Those are valuable assets.
Totally. Okay, so we've talked leadership, time management. What else should someone have up their sleeve when they walk into that hydroelectric plant operator interview?
Remember earlier when we were talking about how important safety is?
Yeah, it's like one of the first things we talked about. Rightly so. The interviewers might dig a little deeper there, maybe ask about a time you spotted a potential safety hazard, or they might be interested in your experience with environmental regulations, especially since hydroelectricity is so closely tied to water resources.
Makes sense. It's not just about generating power. It's about doing it responsibly.
Exactly. So be prepared to connect those dots. How does your role impact the environment and the people around the plant?
So it's about understanding the bigger picture.
I like that.
That's what they want to see. And this goes back to that research we talked about. Take the time to understand how hydroelectric power impacts the environment.
Both the good and the bad.
The whole picture. And brush up on any rules or best practices that are specific to the company or the region where you're applying.
Knowledge is power.
100%.
Now, before we move on, I want to circle back to RoleCatcher. I know we touched on it earlier, but how does it actually help with these specific questions?
Great question. Remember how we talked about tailoring your answers?
RoleCatcher takes the job description and basically creates a customized study guide just for you.
Whoa, that's so cool.
It's like having a secret weapon.
So, like for a question about a time you had to make a difficult decision, RoleCatcher might suggest using examples that has to do with safety protocols or environmental stuff, based on what's in the job description.
It's exactly. It helps you connect all the dots and shows the interviewers that you've really done your homework.
It's like having an insider's guide to the interview.
Exactly.
And I bet it's super helpful for practicing those tricky behavioral questions too. The ones that are always a little nerve-wracking.
You know it. Those questions like, tell me about a time you messed up, or how do you deal with conflict at work?
Those are the worst.
But with RoleCatcher, you can practice your answers, get feedback, and really nail your delivery.
So by the time the interview rolls around, you're cool, calm, and collected.
Precisely.
This is fantastic. We've covered so much ground on the interview itself. But we can't forget that's just one step in a much bigger journey, the career journey.
That's right. And that's where our trusty career guide comes in.
Okay. So let's shift gears a bit and explore what a career as a hydroelectric plant operator actually looks like.
Yeah.
What can someone expect as they climb that ladder? So we talked about how to rock that interview, but what comes after that? What does a career in hydroelectric power actually look like day to day?
That's where a career guide really comes in handy. It breaks down those typical stages you go through, from starting out all the way up to senior operator.
Okay, cool.
And it shows you how your skills and what's expected of you, that changes as you move up.
So it's not like you learn one thing and that's it. You're constantly growing.
Exactly. Always learning.
I always love a good real-life example. Does the guide give us a glimpse into what someone would actually be doing at each level?
It totally does. So when you're first starting out, think of it like you're assisting those more experienced operators. You're monitoring equipment. You're collecting data.
Right, so it's all about the fundamentals.
Exactly. You're getting your hands dirty, really understanding how everything works.
Yeah, learn the ropes.
Then, as you become a junior operator, you get to do more on your own. You might be responsible for some of the routine maintenance, troubleshooting little issues, maybe even help out with safety checks.
So you're starting to spread your wings a little bit, taking on more responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. Then you get to that mid-level, and things get even more exciting. You might be leading a team now, managing different shifts, coordinating with other teams in the plant. You're a decision maker.
Wow, you're really in the thick of it at that point.
Yeah.
What about those senior operators, the ones at the top of their game?
Those are the pros. Years of experience. They might be overseeing these massive projects, mentoring the newer folks coming up, working with the engineers.
So it's a career with room to grow. You start with those technical skills, and then you can move into leadership and management, even strategic planning.
That's the beauty of it. And you know what the best part is? This guide even gives you an idea of the salary you could be making at each of these stages.
Oh, wow, that's super helpful.
Yeah.
Now, this makes me think back to RoleCatcher again. It's got to be such a game changer when you're trying to show off your skills and experience as you're moving up that career ladder, right?
For sure. As you gain experience and you've got your eye on those higher level positions, RoleCatcher is right there with you. Its AI can help you fine-tune your resume, really highlight those achievements and leadership skills that those senior roles are looking for.
So it's not just for that very first job. It's something that can help you throughout your whole career.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, we've covered a ton today, from understanding every aspect of being a hydroelectric plant operator to acing those interview questions, even mapping out your future career path.
It's been quite the deep dive.
It really has. And speaking of deep dives, we always like to leave you with something to think about. As we've learned, hydroelectric power is so important for clean energy, but it's an industry that's always evolving.
For sure.
New technologies popping up, new ways of doing things all the time. So here's your food for thought as you head out into the world. How do you think the role of a hydroelectric plant operator might change in the future? With things like automation, data analysis, maybe even AI becoming more common.
That is the question.
It's a career with a bright future, just like the power source itself. Well, on that note, it's time for us to power down this deep dive.
Until next time.
Don't forget to check out the full career and interview guides on RoleCatcher. Until then, keep those career aspirations high.